I'm Shlomo Stillerman, and I have the privilege of working for YEHUDI. The Strategic Planning Committee had everything planned to the T. There was going to be a war room filled with 100 callers. You were going to have a computerized system that's going to a software with 6,000 names that's all going to be called. There were screens all over the entire event. The whole program was going to be streamed on YouTube so it could reach the world. And then things started going south. Hurricane Matthew. Our callers started backing out one after another because this one's flying there, this one's flying there. The software that we were supposed to use didn't work out because it was reliant on the internet, and the internet had problems because of the hurricane. All the screens that were supposed to be showing the event live weren't working because the internet was down. We couldn't stream the event because the streaming wasn't working. One thing after another was going south, going south, going south. At night, when the event was over, we were supposed to be close to our $1 million already. We didn't even hit $400,000. We knew Hashem was going to pull through, but we had no idea how.
Hi, I'm Shmuel Berkman. I work for YEHUDI. I was always confident this was going to happen because we knew if we didn't raise $1 million, then we may have to close the doors. But to be perfectly honest, at around 6 a.m., I started to have that conversation in my head. Shlomo is telling me we're done, and I had to convince him no. Take a loan, we'll raise the money throughout the year, we'll downsize, we'll figure something out, but we keep going, we can't close. We can't close YEHUDI. And as for that incredible donation, usually when we meet with a big donor, we strategize for days, weeks, months in advance. We're ready. The strategy meeting for this donor happened in the backseat of my Honda. And the truth is, I'm still not quite sure what that strategy was or how good it was. To the extent when we were sitting there, we were 4 rabbis with a combined 3 hours of sleep in the last 5 days. I don't know if a coherent word came out.
My name is Saj Freiberg. I work for YEHUDI. Just want to note this is the short version of the video because Rabbi Flo and his Rebbetzin should be in it, but they weren't in town, and we wanted to tell you some of the miracles. Just so everyone knows, one of the last 2 donations, big donations that came in, was solicited the night before. Somebody who had not given for a long time and never given to YEHUDI before. I wrote a text. I said the numbers weren't getting where they need to go. I wrote a text. If we can get to 900, we give the last 25 so we can multiply that by 4 and make it to $1 million. We're not even at 400,000. If we don't make it to 900,000, you don't give anything. And went into the dinner and walked out, and I had a one letter reply, K. And that's one of the miracles that took place. It was an unbelievable experience. It was, and I will never forget it. And the kindness of the Kodesh Baruch Hu.
I'm Adina Stillerman. I work for YEHUDI. And at 10:45 in the morning, about 15 minutes before the deadline, where charity closes up shop and you either made the $1 million or you didn't make the $1 million, at 10:45 in the morning, I started calling my husband incessantly because that's what good wives do. And he didn't pick up his phone. So I switched to Rabbi Freiberg, and he didn't pick up his phone. And then I called every person that I knew that was missing in action at the hotel, and nobody picked up their phone. So I realized that there was pretty much nobody for me to turn to at that point. And right after I picked up my kishkas from the floor, I realized that I think I need to turn to Hashem. But I remembered my husband's motto since we got married. He always told me that whenever you're stuck in a pickle, don't be worried. Just be curious. What on earth does Hashem have in mind? He learned this from his father, and he passed it down to me and my kids, and never at any point in time should you be worried. Just be curious. So I worked on my curiosity for 5 minutes, and then 10 minutes, and then at some point in time I realized it's probably unhealthy to look at my phone. I turned my phone off, put it next to me, and then I waited.
It's midnight in the war room. The team hasn't given up. We're all in there making phone calls. We're calling everyone we know on the East Coast. It's getting too late. We start moving to the West Coast. It's getting too late there. We start calling people in the UK, going through the night, calling people in Israel. Everyone we know on this globe is getting a call, and people are sending in contributions. 605 contributions ended up coming in from around the globe. But it's 8 o'clock in the morning. Only 3 hours left to the campaign, and we didn't even hit $500,000. We're not even halfway there. What are we going to do? There was a couple that came to the event the night before. They just struck me as the most genuine couple. They really, really cared about Klal Yisrael. They cared about the Jewish people. We thought maybe they live within an hour from the hotel. Let's go to their house. All the rabbis jump in the car, and we go to meet with this couple. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. They're sitting there. His business partner is sitting there. And we just pour out our hearts. And we just ask. We need another $100,000. We just ask. He looks at us and he says, if YEHUDI could impact just one life, you haven't just impacted him. You've affected a lineage forever and ever and ever. This organization needs to succeed. Give me the computer. And right there and then, at 10:55, he puts in a $100,000 donation. A person who came to an event just the night before, the first time ever coming to the event. We barely knew him, but he's a man who cared about the Jewish people. It's only hours before Yom Kippur. Sometimes, you just have to ask. The Almighty, the Ribono Shel Olam, has everything! Just ask Him! And He'll say yes! Gemar Chasima Tova.